Okay, everyone, it is 10:30. So I am going to gavel this meeting to order. This meeting is the Southeast Florida Regional Prosperity Institute meeting. It is our brief meeting that we will hold, and then we will move on to our normal South Florida Regional Planning Council. So I am calling this meeting to order on Monday, January the 26th, 2026. And with that, we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Leo, would you lead us off?
Of course. Good morning.
Good morning.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Leo. May we please have the roll call? Albritton?
Present.
Kaplan?
Here.
Cates?
Here.
Corradino? Burr?
Here.
Garcia? Hughes? And Ida is here. Oh, wait. He's not back there. He's not back there. That's okay. Geller? Gilbert? Goldberg?
Here.
Kaufman? McGee? Rodriguez? Udine? Davila? Lynn? Villaboy? He's there. He's here.
Present.
And Lincoln? Here. Rodriguez? And I understand the flu is alive and well in South Florida. So let's all please make sure we're washing our hands.
Madam Chair, for the record, for this specific meeting, which is the SFRPI meeting, you have a forum. As you know, the membership of the council is the membership of the Institute organization, a 501c3 organization, which was formed many years ago for the purpose of taking contributions that would otherwise qualify for tax deductions and also provide for mediation assistance to those entities or organizations or the statement of organization that otherwise might seek help for that purpose. It's required by federal law to join an annual meeting. This is your annual meeting. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I'd like to recognize that Commissioner Rodriguez has joined us.
Thank you, I got. Good, thank you. And Commissioner Rodriguez, we are thankful that you're at the meeting, but that you're here via internet, so you're not passing your germs. Same with you, Senator Rene Garcia. We're happy that you're here on Zoom, and we don't want you any closer to us than where you are right there. So with that, we do need an approval of the agenda. Have a motion from Beam Fur and a second from Kaplan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, yeah. Agenda is approved. Our action items, first thing we need to do is approve the minutes from our previous meeting, which was our January 2025 meeting. Have a motion and a second. No opposition. The minutes have been approved, and now we will move on to our financial report. And that will be given to us by Mr. Leo Breslavsky-Soldi.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Monday. So as part of my financial report, I confirmed that the fund is balanced and in compliance. The balance sheet states that we have total assets for $63,599.44. And moving on to the next page, our net income for the fiscal year going through October 2024 to September 2025 finished with $9,709.45 for the net income.
Thank you for that report. Do we have any questions or comments?
Where does the income come from?
In this specific case, last year we had several donors for our events, which were collected through the SFRPI.
The conference sponsors.
Okay.
Madam Chair, so
Yes.
for the benefit of the council members, This is a 501(c)(3). It was created quite a few years ago. It used to be Institute for Community Collaboration, was really focused on conflict resolution. That was, of course, one of our, and still, we can still do conflict resolution, but it was a definite statutory thing. Over time, it became the Southeast Florida Regional Prosperity Institute as a tool in our toolbox, because this enables us to receive funds from entities who would not otherwise be able to contribute to a government organization. So in the years past, council member, the Data Common Project with City was through the 501(c)(3). So this year, looking forward, a high priority for us is to reinvigorate the 501(c)(3). Mr. Goley is going to be working on that along with, other members of staff, but to really look for opportunities to do additional work through that 501(c)(3). Maybe partners.
It's a great question.
Thank you. for
Thank
that.
you.
That was a good question. Any other comments or questions? Anyone in Zoom? Hearing none, we do need to approve the financial report. So
Very much.
So,
have a motion and a second. Any opposition? Hearing none, the motion is approved. So now we will open to public hearing. Do we have a public hearing?
public comment.
For public
If
comment.
anybody has.
So the meeting is now open for public comment. If there's anyone in the room that wishes to say something, they can now. Hearing none, we will close that and open it to Zoom. Is there anyone in Zoom that wishes to make a public comment? If so, raise your virtual hand. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing comment portion and the meeting is adjourned.
Is it?
I think so.
That was a commission.
How about that?
Efficient is good.
Woo. And now we're gonna move.
Very efficient.
Thank you, very efficient. Now we're gonna move right on.
Well, it's not a horse.
You all are making fun of me. Okay. I now open the South Florida Regional Planning Council meeting. So let's stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Jim, would you like to lead us off?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kathy, would you please call roll?
Albritton,
Present.
Kaplan,
Here.
Cates,
Here.
Bardino, Burr,
Here.
Garcia,
Present-ish.
Geller, Gilbert, Goldberg,
Here.
Hopkins, McGee, Rodriguez,
Present-ish as well.
Beauty, Davila, Wynn,
Here.
thank you, Villaboy,
Here.
and Lincoln.
Here.
Megan Rutter sitting in for Serena Davila.
Oh, thank you, Megan.
For the record, Madam Chair, you have a quorum of the membership by having at least 1/3 physically present in the room this morning. The balance of whom are currently online, and for the purpose of the numbers are also qualified to conduct business with you and with the members present this morning, which are legally able to proceed in the public as well. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Boren. I would like to take a moment first to welcome Jim Albritton. You have diligently attended these meetings for years, sitting over near the edge of the desk over there, and it's nice to have you up front, and we welcome you as a council member from the town of Southwest Ranches, representing the Broward League of Cities. And you have been appointed by past council member Denise Horland, who unfortunately has had to step down due to too many commitments. So we greatly appreciate that you're here. Welcome. Would you like to say a welcoming hello?
Just honored to be here. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We're glad you're here.
She made a good choice.
Yes, I think she did, and we will definitely miss and want to thank council member Denise Horland, who has served on this board since 2023. So we do want to thank her. And I know that Councilmember Maria Rodriguez is ill today, but she is also celebrating an anniversary. So I wanted to,
A wedding.
a wedding. Woo, that's like your first anniversary.
That's it.
It's the foundation for anniversaries. So congratulations to her.
Thank
And
you.
You're welcome. Glad that you're here with us. And so I do know we have congratulated Leo and his wife Maria for they're about to have a baby any week. A little baby around here. That's fun. So with that, let's get back onto the seriousness of our meeting, and we do need a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. Oh,
Approved. Gonna say our next item is supposed to be our financial report, but we have to wait a moment for Leo to get back in the room. Sorry, Leo, you're back up on the
Always ready.
podium to give us our financial report.
Hey, good morning again. So as part of my financial report, I confirmed that all the funds are balanced and in compliance. I'll start with the balance sheet, as we always do. The balance sheet for the general fund states that total assets closed in $136,000, $228 less than the previous month. This is explained by the payroll and payables throughout the period. It finished at $2,854,441. Federal, state, and local funds increased their funds by $101,738, and they got it at $153,641. Revolving loan funds increased their assets in $1,024, and the Prosperity Institute increased its assets in $2,616. If we move on to page 2, we will see the revenue report. Revenues are 53% of the budget for the fiscal year, totaling $2,125,756. Expenses are at $686,887. That's a 17% of the budget for the fiscal year, and a 25% of the fiscal year lapse. I can tell you overall financial performance is consistent with expectations. There are no material variances to reports, and the council remains in stable financial position.
Thank you for that report. Does anyone have any questions? I have no questions from live Zoom. Any questions for Leo? Hearing none, I will accept a motion to approve the financial report.
Move.
Have a motion from Commissioner Kaplan and second by Commissioner Furr. Any opposition? Hearing none, the motion to approve the financial report is accepted. Thank you. Thank you for your report and congratulations on your upcoming baby.
Thank you very much.
Also, it's a tax exemption too, right?
Tax exemption.
This fiscal year.
Hope it's a big one.
The next item we have is a consent of our comprehensive plan amendment review that our director Isabella Cosio Carbello is about to give us. So the floor is yours.
So thank you, council members. Thank you, Madam Chair. It's just to let you know, we have a lengthy list because we didn't meet in November or December because it wasn't necessary. We didn't want to take up your valuable time. So I just wanted to mention that we did get comments in during that time, and it was a 30-day comment window. There was nothing controversial that came in that would have required us to elevate it, to your knowledge. So we just went ahead and did a staff acknowledgement. And in doing so, within the 30-day window, we preserved your right to comment in the future when it comes back as an adopted amendment. So that's it. I just wanted to say that. And so, Madam Chair, Sam can now Do this.
We can move on. Yes, so we'll move on to the proposed amendments and then to the public hearing.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the council and those here physically and those that are online. In an effort to reduce the time and effort to read as quickly as one possibly can, I'm going to read the names of each of the cities that are so noted on the record. The agendas, both on the record, online, and otherwise physically available, have their specific case numbers, which are the numbers considered by each city council and city commission when each item was approved. So for the record, I'll simply read them, the names of the cities of the record, and the aligned case numbers are those which are aligned with that. For those which are proposed for the month of November, the city of Hollywood, which is a notation in the record, the city of Lighthouse Point, the city of Marathon, the town of Southwest Ranches, the city of Sunrise, and the city of Sweetwater. Other proposed for the month of December are as follows: Broward County, Miami-Dade County, two of them, Miami-Dade County twice, the city of Coral Springs, the town of Cutler Bay, the city of Fort Lauderdale, Islamorada, the village of Islands, the city of Margate, the city of Sunny Island Beach. And in January, those again which are proposed are as follows: Broward County, Monroe County, the city of Doral, Islamorada, the village of Islands, the city of Lauderdale Lakes, the city of Miami Beach, and the city of Oakland Park. Those are all of the proposed items that have been considered with the aligned case numbers or the actual LUA number that affixes to each one of them. And for the record, Commissioner Albritton, even though you are a member of the Commission of Southwest Ranchers, you are legally allowed under Florida law to vote, which may include that, which includes your city where you serve as a commissioner. Other than that, Madam Chair, you have November, December, and January proposed land use amendments, which the council still required to legally review and to comment upon. This is not a light item which is lightly touched. That's something which is significant legally on behalf of what we do and how we function. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you for that. And so this is a public hearing. It is open for comments. And so at this point, I am opening it up for any comments. Is there any comments in the room? There are no comments in the room. I'm opening it up to comments on Zoom. Are there any comments on Zoom? Anyone want to raise your virtual hand? Seeing no hands raised, I will close the public hearing and we'll now open it up for a motion.
Move for all.
Have a motion to approve them all by Commissioner Kaplan, and we have a second by Commissioner Albritton. Any opposition?
Yeah, I would like to just ask a question.
Yes, the floor is yours.
On the city of Hollywood, is this a standard land use category, commercial recreation? Is that one that's used?
Which one are you looking at?
Very first one.
November.
They're starting, they're doing a new category. And I'm just wondering if this is a category that's used in other cities.
I'm gonna have to defer
Commercial
to.
recreation is used in other cities.
I'm surprised the city of Hollywood never had it.
Mhm.
That's all. That's kind of what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not
House
used in every
parties.
city.
If it pleases the board, I could provide comment.
But
Oh, the city of Hollywood's online. We provide.
oh, okay, all right.
Good morning, Cameron Palmer, Planning Manager from the City of Hollywood. Yes, we did not have a commercial recreation category previously, so we were adding this category in support of a P3 project that we're doing, but also in support of bringing us into alignment with the same category that exists in the Broward Land Use Plan.
Is this to support the Orange Brook project?
Yes, it is indeed. Up until this moment, the City of Hollywood did not have a commercial recreation, and the other sites that are similar to this in the city were placed in other land use categories that were not equally as appropriate. And the county opined that we should be bringing ourselves into alignment with their definition and their category.
Okay, so this would probably be used for the Hollywood Beach as well? Hollywood Beach Golf?
At the current moment, it's only anticipated to be used for Orange Brook, but it is open citywide for use in the future.
Okay, thanks, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? We have a motion. It has been seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Motion has been approved. And with that, we will now move on to our adopted. And I will again turn the floor over to you, Mr.
Thank
Gordon.
you, Madam Chair. The adopted, similar to those which are the proposed, which we'll come back to in some form or fashion in the near future. These are items which have been approved by the various and sundry city commissions and city councils, which I'll read into the record. The case numbers are aligned with the specifics of the particular city and are made part of the public record on both online and otherwise in hard copy today. Any member of the public who came out today to speak for or against the item is allowed by law to speak, including those members of the council present physically this morning and online, and any member of any city who may be here, much like the Hollywood matter moments ago, who participated by answering questions. For December of this past year, the following were considered as adopted land use amendments: the city of Miramar, the city of North Lauderdale, the city of Tamarack, and the city of West Miami. Those that were considered in the month of January and transmitted by law to the regional council for review as adopted were Broward County, Monroe County, there are 2 of them, Isla Mirada, the Village of Islands, 2 of them, actually 3 of them, forgive me, and 2 left were the city of Miami and the city of North Miami, all of which were considered by their various councils and transmitted to you for consideration. Would be able to legally comment if you so desire. Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gorin, and I will now open up this public hearing for comments. Is there anybody in this room who wishes to make a comment on any of these adopted amendments? I don't see anyone here. Anyone in Zoom wish to make a comment or a question? Please raise your virtual hand. I see no hands raised, so I will bring it back to the council and will entertain a motion to accept. And I'm seeing that.
Moved as to all.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Kaplan and we have a second by Mr. Albritton. So any further comments by our commissions? None? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
All right.
Ayes have it. You can't say it the way a Kentucky girl says it.
I tried.
That's right.
Leo adopted that when he was doing the Pledge of Allegiance. Did you notice?
I did. I did notice that. So we are totally off today. So this concludes our public hearing, and we will now move on to regional issues, which we don't have any. So I want to move right on to our proposed South Florida Regional Planning Council meeting dates and locations. So I will turn the floor over to you, Isabel.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. So council members, I direct you please to agenda item 3E for you to take a look at our proposed calendar for this year, the dates. As you know, unless it falls on a holiday, we typically strive to meet on the 3rd Monday of the month. So I would just ask you to please take a look at this, and we try to rotate our meetings between the different counties, of course. So please take a look at it and see if there's any immediate conflict that you identified. The meeting locations may change depending what's on the agenda item. So for example, if it's really heavy with amendments from Miami-Dade County, for example, that one would expect public comment because they're outside their redevelopment boundary or because it's otherwise, bringing up discussion, and we would try to be proximate in Miami-Dade County for public comment. And that's where. So on the back of this sheet, are the holidays and secular and religious holidays, that the primary ones that we identify. If there's anything here that you find different, please let us know. I will ask you please to note that this calendar, I don't know, I think actually right now I can see what's missing here. We need to add this to this agenda item. Our May council meeting is not listed on the agenda. It should be 2 dates under May. So if you want, the 3rd Monday of the month is, well, my calendar tell you what the 3rd Monday of the month is in May.
The conference down there.
See, there is a conference. So as you know, every year we do a couple of special meetings. So I would just ask you, please, for now, May 18th is a date that's additional to add. That's the 3rd Monday of the month. So every year we have a joint conference with the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council which is a meeting of the elected officials and stakeholders from the 7-county region of Monroe through Indian River County. Last year meeting was it Silver Tsunami? No,
It was TOD and affordable housing.
TOD and affordable housing. Now, that was our regional.
Yes, Silver Tsunami was.
It was
at
a Silver
the joint
Tsunami
conference.
Conference, yes. So every year we have a joint conference. That joint conference is right now tentatively, but clearly stated for Friday, October 16th. It's our turn to host. So we will be meeting somewhere in our region, and the topic is going to be the blue ocean economy, which is a topic of great interest. Everybody seems to be very interested in that topic throughout the 7-county region. So blue ocean economy. And then in May, Councilmember for the May 21st conference is the South Florida conference, which is Monroe, Miami-Dade, and Broward. In February, we will bring to this board an agenda item and ask you please to discuss the topics that you think would be a good topic for that. Because they didn't, I think that y'all need to have that conversation and give us direction. So that's that. And I will also point out that you'll see in March that you have a meeting here, which is the SFRPC Treasure Coast Joint Meeting. So you'll recall last year, it was held in March. It was held through the courtesy of the Broward MPO at their offices. And we talked about corals, water, and regional transportation authority. So this time is going to be Treasure Coast region. They get to host. And so, yes, it's a full schedule. So, and that's my update.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. We'll now move on to,
We need to adopt it.
oh, I'm so sorry.
No, that's
So
okay.
we need to adopt the meeting date and location agenda.
And we can bring it next month back if somebody wants to read something.
Okay, so I do need a motion. We have a motion. We have a motion and a second. Any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes. Now we'll move on to F, which is our nominating committee report and election of our officers. So the nominating committee consisted of past chair Steve Geller, Secretary Kaplan, and myself. We did meet on January the 9th. We developed and recommended a slate of officers. However, after that, we unfortunately heard from Councilmember Horland that she can no longer be on our committee, so she had to resign. So we had to reconvene another nominating committee meeting, and we have come up with what I think will be a wonderful slate. Chair Renee Garcia. And then we'll have first vice chair of Carrie Goldberg from Broward County. We will have as our second vice chair, Frank Kaplan from Miami-Dade County municipalities. We will have as our treasurer, Bean Fur from Broward County. We'll have as our secretary, soon to be married, Maria Rodriguez from Broward County. And we will have as our immediate past chair, Michelle Lincoln. That would be me. So this is what we are proposing. And I do believe we need to have an election, and we have to have, I propose we need a motion.
To accept the slate as proposed.
Accept the slate as proposed.
As amended.
That'll be my motion.
It's a beautiful motion. Thank you. We have a motion and we have a second, and I will open it up for any conversation from anyone in Zoom world. Okay, no conversation from Zoom world. So all in favor, let's do a real loud ah. All in favor, ah. Motion carries. So congratulations, everyone. So at this point, I am virtually handing the gavel to.
Go through it. Throw it. Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate you. and I appreciate your leadership. I appreciate the fact that you've been able to keep the dialogue moving amongst our respective counties and municipalities. It's a tough job, and not only here but also at the Florida Association of Counties. You're you really are a true leader. We appreciate everything you've done for us, and look forward to your involvement as immediate past chair. So we continue to work forward and making sure that we do have this regionalization of our communities, making sure that we keep in line with protecting our own communities and the environment and so forth. So thank you so much, Madam Chair. You have been awesome. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you for that, and I appreciate the leadership that you are going to provide and your background as our past senator, and you just have a plethora of knowledge and skills that will aid our South Florida Regional Planning Council.
And with
Thank you so
that,
much.
and with that, Mr. Chair. No. So just a small token, just a little.
Oh, I am so glad my New Year's resolution was not to give up chocolates.
So, as I mentioned to Councilmember Lincoln, we typically give presents to our members when they leave the board, not like every time they switch around in a position. So but we're happy to sweeten the pot, and you win, of course, the award for driving the furthest, the longest, most often than any other council members as you come all the way from Marathon every month. Thank you. I know that's amazing lift. And thank you so much. It's been really great working with you, and in this capacity, I look forward to working with you again. In the state moving forward.
Thank you. It's your staff. You all are amazing. You make this job easy sitting up here. And you all do such great works for the whole South Florida Regional Planning Council. So thank you all for that as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Consider that was a virtual standing ovation.
Yes.
So Chair Garcia, do you want to take over the meeting at this point, or how would you?
Not
like
really, but I have no choice, I guess, right? So, but yes, I guess we'll go into program reports and activities. I'd say we have presentation by the South Florida Regional Planning Council role in the Florida DRI process following the passage of Committee Bill 1151.
Yes, Chairman, this is a time approximate 11:15, so I think we could help everyone get out a little earlier. If we just went ahead and went right to legal counsel report right now. And then when we get a little closer to 11:15, since there may be some people zooming in for that presentation, would that be agreeable to you, Chair?
That sounds like a plan.
Thank you. So, you want to go ahead, Sam?
Is the legal counsel report or the actual presentation?
No, your report.
Okay, the answer is my report. I have no report. My report is the DRI presentation. So
Okay, great.
I will add you more minutes to your minutes.
So Chairman, then if you don't mind, I'll go to my executive director's report.
Thank you.
Let's do so.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chair. So, can't believe January's gone already. That is just crazy. So we did have, I just wanted to make you aware of a program that's in flux right now. We've consulted with Councilmember Furr because he is the lead council member on this program. That's the Clean Cities Coalition. Ms. Lopez, who had been here for about 4 or 5 years, left the council to take on new opportunities. And there was a lot of flux in the program due in fact to the fact that we haven't had funding from the Department of Energy for the last year for the Clean Cities Coalition. So in consultation with Commissioner Furr, we are having a meeting. We're going to put together a meeting with the executive committee and to have a conversation about their thoughts on continuing coalitions. And we have also had a conversation with the Department of Energy, which is through where the Clean Cities Coalition is funded. And it may be that in the next few months, there might be some funding back. We don't know. By way of background, the Clean Cities Coalition was created more than 25 years ago in response to fuel insecurity. It was never, how was the word I would want to say? It was fuel agnostic. It was really about a diversity of fuel sources so that we would be not reliant on foreign fuels, and also that we would have fuel options. So that's where we are. And over the years, there was more of a shift to electric vehicles, not by our coalition, but by our partners. So again, we will be setting up that meeting. We've already pulled out the list of contacts to go ahead and coordinate with your office, Commissioner for the Homeland. So we all wish Alicia well, and we will sort out what happens with that program. Trying to think if there's any additional updates. We're always interested if you have good candidates that want to come work at the regional council, please send them to us. We're always looking for some new persons. And I don't know if, I don't think I've forgotten anything. Is there anything I've forgotten, staff, about an pressing update that you can think of? Okay. No.
Isabel, what positions are open? Did you say you're looking for positions for people? What are you looking for?
Yes, Chairman. So we're looking for an experienced administrative person to work with Kathy Lurch, our Director of Administration, to prepare for the eventual transition when Kathy chooses to retire. We need someone up front to help with that. I see she was very happy when I said that. And I would be interested also in a second administration position of a younger person that could really assist in the office, because again, we used to have a lot of people in that office and we were much larger at that time, but we're pretty thin now. And then I would also be always interested in regional planners. So if you know of a good regional planner that wants to come and work at the council, I do think our job is super interesting in that we do get to work with all the counties, and that is unique. So always looking for that sort of professional staff.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
All right, so I guess we go to council member reports.
Yes, Chairman. So any council members wish to?
I can give a couple.
Okay.
It's, did have the South Florida, there's a whole climate change.
Is that what we said?
There was a good meeting of the Southeast Florida Climate Change Compact,
Yes.
of which all of us were members of, up in Palm Beach. Very, very enlightening on a lot of it, particularly on coral reef stuff. And I think what you're seeing is a kind of a push to try to figure out how to get as many nurseries as possible. I know we're going to need it for the Port Everglades project. I think they're asking us to have about 800,000 corals. There's a lot of corals. But I think that's, you know, and looking at what happened down in Keys when they had the nurseries down there, and then a lot of those unfortunately died. So there's a lot of discussion on that, of, you know, what to do there. And I know the Keys is kind of leading the way on that in terms of the nurseries. So we're all kind of watching what you all are doing, particularly on the new corals, and the ones from Guatemala or Honduras or.
Well, there's some new ones that made new ones too.
Yeah.
So that's extremely exciting that they're more heat tolerant and they're producing and reproducing.
Right. So it's, you know, I think all the counties are an eye on you guys. On you're kind of canary in the coal mine on this one, on how it's working. So that's, you know, that was pretty interesting. That entire summit. It's in Broward this coming. And then the Solid Waste Authority in Broward. We're in contact with both Miami-Dade and Palm Beach and Monroe to a lesser extent. But they're getting ready to go out to all the cities and create that solid waste site. The facilities amendment is essentially ready to go.
In Palm Beach?
No, in Broward. And this, in 2 weeks, the waste management recycling, state-of-the-art recycling opens up. That's going to serve all 4 counties. It's got a capacity that's great.
You don't know too much about them.
270,000 tons of capacity. Can serve all 4 counties. It opens up February 19th.
And where is that going to be located?
It's in Pembroke Pines. Right on. I don't know if it's unincorporated.
It's in the city.
It isn't,
Yeah.
okay.
It's in, there is no unincorporated.
There's nothing unincorporated out there. Okay.
It's good to know.
Yeah, so that's, I think you're gonna see some pretty good advance. What happens, I mean, I'm watching the legislature on a couple of items right now, and I think all of us need to be. With regard to some facilities.
Here's this, if you want to refer to it.
Is this one?
That's the Broward, that's Marty Fitzini's legislative.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, you know, I'm not sure what's gonna happen on some of these, but you're seeing quite a bit of advancement on biosolids. That's because I think a lot of us have been exporting our biosolids. And you're gonna see a change in how that's being done. Broward's trying to do thermal conversion. I think Miami-Dade, we already do some of that. But I think that's just being good neighbors. You know, so hopefully we can keep doing that. Those are just some of the big topics that are going on, but they're all in play right now. And happening kind of quick. Because those, like all those facilities amendments will be going to every city for a vote in the next couple months. Yeah. That's it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, anything else?
I guess I'll just mention, Isabel and I will be representing our council, Tallahassee, at the Florida Regional Council Association this week. I will be presenting to the Council Association on regional mobility and economic benefit analysis that we've contributed on various projects. So that's it.
Pack your winter coat.
Yeah.
If I might add something, Chairman Garcia.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. I would like to mention, and we'll bring it to the council meeting the next one in February, that we're going to be creating a committee, like a membership committee, to have a conversation about the membership of the council, to examine other options that we might have, to start thinking about members that we might want to be cultivating and bringing in. So we'll have that conversation coming up, because every council is a little bit different. Some are much larger than ours. So it's just a general conversation. So Chairman will present to you an agenda item for your consideration and input. The other thing I want to briefly mention, I'm sorry, go ahead. The other thing I want to briefly mention, dovetailing on what Commissioner Kaplan says, I will be going to Tallahassee tomorrow. And what I would like to do, and I'm working on it, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get it done already today, but if this approach sounds good to you, I'm happy to follow your direction if you want to vet it in any way. But you know, over the years, we have passed a number of resolutions, many of them in partnership with the Treasure Coast Regional Council. So I just want to put together a little simple one pager as a little leave behind that just reiterates our positions on key issues, like please fund the Regional Transportation Authority Tri-Rail. That was a resolution that we passed last year that was important. Of course, we've done resolutions for the Florida Cold Reef Track, for funding. Also, Biscayne Bay, Commissioner Garcia is particularly important this year because Biscayne Bay used to be a line item, you're gonna understand this better, a line item appropriation standalone, and now it's been moved into a pot. So my understanding is that it would be better if it was its own line item. I will follow up with information directly to Edida and you on this issue. But my idea is to just say, you know, support funding for wastewater, stormwater infrastructure. Of course, that's tied directly to the blue ocean economy as well, and the pools. Another one that we've had before is human biosolids. So I have our past resolutions, and I'll just refer to them: support for affordable housing. And those are the ones we have now. Obviously, for the ones, there's many of these issues. For example, preemption of local authority, that's best handled by our local governments directly. It's not something we've ever taken a position on. So with that, Chair Garcia, if you're comfortable with that, and the board's comfortable with me making like a little bulleted list of past positions we've had, that continue to be unresolved in Tallahassee, I would appreciate your go ahead on something like that.
I think, do we need a motion for that? But I think we can just go ahead and give you direction for that. Do you need a motion?
No,
So long as, Mr. Chair, you're comfortable that the consensus is heard loudly enough for you to accept it.
Absolutely. If everyone's okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Yes, sounds good.
All right.
Thank
Thank you. So let's go to the
One
yes.
second.
Go ahead.
Hard to catch your attention up there. Two things I just wanted to alert for all the counties. There's two, the management plan for the Kristen Jacobs Coral Reef
right.
is now up for review. The plan's out, we're just looking at public review. So that's finally, I mean, that's
So
from
many years
2018, that's
Mhm.
7 years later. All the counties got together and all the people, it's done. It looks good, but it has to go through the review. So if there's anybody that wants to look at it, that stuff, as well as the CSNF study.
Oh, yes.
That is up for review now. That's a public review. So both of those studies are reaching their end. Thank goodness. They've gone through a lot of stuff to get there. Those two. One question for the chair. You know, I know Eileen Higgins was kind of leading Miami-Dade's push for the Northeast Corridor and the $200 million that got taken out of the budget last year. I don't know who, Chair, can you let me know who is for Miami-Dade, who's kind of leading that now? Because I'm kind of working it from the Broward side, but I don't know who's leading it from the Miami-Dade side.
Actually, I will get back to you on that.
Okay.
I can't tell you right now that there is anyone pushing it like she was. But I'll call you later on today and I don't know if I can call you. Can I? I guess I can tell you, right? I can tell you who's leading it. Yeah, I'll find out for you. Not exactly sure. That's a great question.
Yeah, because I think we're trying to get that put back in. I mean, I think we were looking at it as we were giving them the benefit of the doubt, maybe it was a mistake. But that's $200 million. Without that, it's dead in the water. So
Is that the new starts funding?
yeah.
Okay, so that's part of our position. The new starts funding that went away when they took away
Right.
the funding for Tri-Road.
Right. And she was kind of leading that, but I don't know who's leading in there. So okay.
I would think it'll be Raquel Regalado, but let me just double check for you. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. It's good to know that. Thank you.
It's a great question. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a good observation. Good.
Mhm.
All right, so I guess we can go back. It's before we go to the SFRPI, you want to go back to the Sam's presentation?
That would be wonderful, Chair.
Okay. All right, Sam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Monday. Just a little history, if you will, which may give you some orientation for the discussion about developments of regional impact. The picture, if you will, the statute was adopted in 1972. In 1972, just for the record, I finished college in 1972. I got married in 1972. I'm still married, many years later. But the bill that was referred to in the backup, and there's a very thoughtful memorandum in the backup for your review as well. It was taken into account by both our executive director and by Christina Miskus, who was here, and also Bob Cameron, who was one of our outside consultants and formerly a full-time employee of the council handling DRIs. But the statute, for those who may not remember it, or may be too young to remember it, was referred to as the Florida Environmental Land and Water Management Act of 1972. It was adopted in Florida, and to the extent possible, it is still the law. We're going to talk about that in a second. But the purpose that's expressly now in Chapter 380, still Chapter 380 tells us the following. It is the legislative intent that in order to protect the natural resources and environment of this state, as provided for in Section 7, Article 2 of the state constitution, and to ensure a water management system that will reverse the deterioration of water quality and provide optimum utilization of our limited water resources, to facilitate orderly and well-planned development and protect the health, welfare, safety, and quality of life of the residents of the state, it is necessary to adequately plan for and to guide growth and development within the state. In order to accomplish these purposes, it is necessary that the state establish land and water management policies to guide and coordinate local decisions related to growth and development, and that such state land and water management policies should, to the maximum possible extent, be implemented by local governments through existing processes for the guidance of growth and development, and that all the existing rights of private property be preserved in accord with the constitutions of this state and of the United States. That was the predicate to the establishment of this act. It is no small task. The legislature thought this thing through. The governor and cabinet thought this thing through, and the bill was passed in the state house and state senate and was adopted and codified under 380.021. 380.06 is a statute you'll see in the memorandum. That's the statute which relates to what are development's original impact. What's a DRI? Well, I can tell you quickly what the statute defines it as. I'm going to give you some examples in a minute and talk about why we're here talking about it. The definition under the statute in 380.06 says the following. The term development of regional impact as used in this section means any development, not just some, any development that because of its character, magnitude, or location would have a substantial effect upon the health, safety, or welfare of citizens of more than one county. The consequence of which is that with the adoption of this general law applicable in Florida, DRIs were established and created. What's a DRI? Well, you may not remember the name of it, but Hard Rock Stadium used to be called Joe Robbie Stadium. Joe Robbie Stadium was a DRI. Those that may not know that, I know that, and those who may not know that will know that now. That was a project that was controversial. It was frictional. Litigation ensued, so to speak, because of it. The end result of which is that you now have Hard Rock Stadium, but it was a DRI. And at the time, Frank Callahan was the chairman of the Regional Planning Council because I was sitting right next to him at the time. And the end result is that Frank Callahan, although not having a conflict, was actually a part owner in the Dolphins many, many years before. He had a very uniquely close working knowledge of the application and the applicant itself. Mr. Robbie also came to the meetings, as I recall, and others, but that's a historical fact. You speak of areas of critical state concern. What are those? Well, I know the chair knows what they are, former chair. You're the mayor now, correct?
Yes.
Well, and I know that Mayor Lincoln knows the answer. Areas of critical state concern are defined in the statute under 380, and in that statute, ACSCs basically are unique to South Florida. The keys are different, although part of the Regional Planning Council for South Florida, Monroe County has a very special role defined by statute that's different than any other county in the state of Florida. So our three counties being Broward, Monroe, and Miami-Dade, although similar in nature, are not similar in content in some respects, and the keys have a different texture and legal tone to them. I think also worth noting. I was thinking while preparing for today, I know the time is short and that I'm the next thing over from keeping you from going to lunch or back to work, but there have been projects over the years, and I remember one, I think it's worth noting. Although I'm going to get to the capstone in a second, the statute was significantly modified in 2018. I'm going to tell you why we're here for that purpose. But I must recall for your remembrance, there used to be a mayor in Miami whose name was Maurice Ferre. You all probably know him or knew him. And there was a project in Miami back in the mid-'80s before he left office, which was promoted by the city of Miami in Miami-Dade County. And at the time, various parties had the right to appeal decisions with regard to development's original impact. That was the developer, the applicant, and the SFRPC. The SFRPC does not have that legal authority anymore to appeal decisions of local governments with regard to development orders. But at the time, we did. And I traveled to Tallahassee with Maurice Ferre in a small plane, because at the time, there was a hearing pending before the governor and cabinet. And that group then and now is called the Florida Land and Water Adjudicatory Commission, FLWAC. I'm not making it up. FLWAC is the governor and cabinet sitting as the administration commission, where they at the time then were able to decide appeals from local government decisions on land development, those that are controlled by and were under Chapter 380. And I must tell you that at the council meeting, and I mentioned this because of Commissioner Albritton, you're a free dealer when you sit here. Under Florida law, you may represent your local government that got you here. You may be elected to that particular local government, but the end result is you can make your own decisions based on what you hear in this room and during the course of proceedings. I said it for a reason, because you are a free dealer. And Maurice Ferre Mayor Ferre supported the item back in the mid-'80s. But in the airplane and going to Tallahassee, sitting next to me, he was not. He was basically objecting to the regional council's appeal because he supported the project. I wanted to just give you the texture of how this all evolved over time. And the reason I tell you is because the legislature took a pivot. They changed approaches. And what they did was in 2018, it's in the backup, you'll see the bill. And the legislative history is worth noting. It was the CSCS House Bill 1151, which was passed and adopted, which specifically references the definition I gave you moments ago. Any development which, because of its character, magnitude, or location, would have a substantial effect on the health, safety, or welfare of the citizens, etc. But the byline says the DRI program was initially created in 1972 as an interim program intended to be replaced by comprehensive planning and permitting program. That's an important comment because in this bill, essentially, the bill did a number of things. The bill ended in 2018, ended the rights of SFRPC and other regional councils to appeal to the Florida Land and Water Adjudicatory Commission, except for decisions by local governments to abandon and approve the RI. However, no changes are made regarding the authority of the commission to review development orders in areas of critical state concern. Another factor that's important because of the keys and what role they play in the land development discussion that we have in the statute. It makes them different just as it does. So you have Chapter 380, which passed in 1972. There were dozens of DRIs that this organization had, dozens of them. It was a cottage industry. Why, you ask? Well, because DRIs produce what's called a development order. You can ask Mr. Burkow in the audience today, refer to Jeff in a few moments, who happens to be, if I may, be one of the lawyers left in this South Florida community that still has an understanding of DRIs, is representing a client, which I'll talk about in a moment as well. But you have the likes of people like Alan Gold, who was a former federal judge and a partner in the Greenberg charge law, who appeared in this room many times on behalf of developers for that matters, and other professionals who were well known to the community in this area. In 2018, the right of appeal was ended. The end result of which is that this council lost its opportunity to make decisions based upon that. However, when this bill was adopted in 2018, it did a couple of things that are important. And I mentioned Mr. Burkow for a reason, because what it did was it preserved the right of any applicant that was in the pipeline in 2015, to have preserved rights and to essentially proceed with their DRI. I'd like to refer to the what we commonly refer to as City Park. It was the applicant actually is referred to as the Parkland Chrome Groves Development of Regional Impact. That's not why I'm standing before you today or why Mr. Burkow is particularly here. He represents the applicant. In 2021, this council, some of you were on the council, some of you were not, actually executed an agreement called the 380-032 agreement, which essentially preserved the rights of all parties to proceed. Not just the applicant, who was grandfathered with their application to have their DRI considered by Miami-Dade County, but also the council's rights and the rights of the local government to make decisions at the applicant. The state signed off on that agreement. It's in the backup. You'll see the letter and request. I have a copy of the contract with me, but it was approved in that year and essentially provides a premise on which at some future moment you'll be seeing that application publicly because you have a role to play still under the statute that was not otherwise ended by the amendment in 2018. A couple of things if I can. So we know that the statute was amended. We know that the City Park project was essentially grandfathered, and you'll see it again. And since 2021, when the 032 agreement was executed and approved by the council, it was briefly extended this past year as well in 2025. The end result of which is that it is in process. Now, what do you see on the screen right now? Well, it looks like a kabuki dance, is what it looks like, but it's something very important because what it tells you is it gives you the step-by-step, theoretically, the step-by-step processing of how you get from a pre-application conference to a development order. And I mentioned DOs a minute ago for a reason, because development orders is the end product of what it is that you all do and what the local government does to get to an approved project. Because developers and government both enjoy the opportunity of having something which is secure and something which is, my notes to myself basically suggest that there's some certainty with development orders because they define the rights and obligations of all parties with regard to the project itself. So DOs become quite important. This council cannot appeal decisions of local government, but the role to play starts with the pre-application conference. The City Park project, although I'm not getting into the details of that because that's self-evident by the earlier comments I made, Their grandfather, that's proceeding accordingly, but the pre-application process and the actual kabuki dance I show you here, it is a step-by-step process, which this applicant has been going through since they applied with their, what's called their application for development approval. There's a pre-application conference. This Regional Planning Council plays a very pivotal role. You're like a quarterback with regard to the organization and how you get things into a process, which is meant to allow for ultimate review by the local government, that being Miami-Dade County.
And you can see that council members, you can see the full chart in your agenda package, or remember there's another slide.
It's so big.
It's so big.
We need 2 slides. It is a unique process, and I'm not speaking pejoratively about kabuki dancing, but this particular process is not simple. It is complicated. It is rife with debate, discussion, etc. I know that many administrations in Tallahassee, the governor included, people like Senator Graham, were very concerned about growth management and things like that. This process, though, gives the applicant, the local government, and the council guideposts, guidelines to get to the ultimate decision, which is the development order, which enables the applicant to proceed, allows the local government to know what the rights are and how they are to be handled, and the rights of the council in analyzing and being the quarterback to get everything to the table. You'll see then that ultimately there's a whole process to get to the answer, the end result of which is that we are in that process with this applicant. You will see this application at some future moment. What's your role to play in the future? What do you think you're going to be doing? Well, I can tell you what you're going to do. You're going to have a role to play because there are multiple public hearings. There are several which will occur here. There will be several which will occur in Miami-Dade County. And the state's role essentially is they have an overseer type relationship with Florida Commerce. They used to be called the Department of Community Affairs. They've since changed 3 times. And they are a party to the 032 agreement, which was signed off on by everybody. And they too are paying attention to what's happening, including all of the pre-application parties, federal agencies and other state agencies, all of whom have a part to play in what ultimately becomes the development work. So if you look at the charts in the backup, essentially the goal and objective is to get to a DO that protects both the local government that's issuing it, as well as the applicant who knows and will know what their rights and liabilities are in the future, and the council that have performed its function. Some of the concepts that we talked about in the memo. At some point, the application for development approval, which has been filed, by the way, just parenthetically in this matter of public record, there's a sufficiency process currently underway where the professional staff of the council, including Cambrick and Christina Biscus, are working on, and others within
Commenting agencies.
and multiple commenting agencies. We're not alone in this discussion. You know, that song, "You Never Walk Alone," you ain't walking alone here. You've got a lot of people that are right beside you who are paying attention, from the Army Corps of Engineers to any number of other state agencies that have been directly and intimately involved with the process. You may see them at a meeting, at which time you consider those things which must legally come before you. You may not, you may see them online, you may see them in writing, but you will see them in the context of what they've done or how they've commented, because the staff has a legal obligation to consider and to evaluate that information before they actually propose moving forward with various things, one of which is the application for development approval, which has been filed.
If I may, Sam, it includes the Water Management District, DEP, of course, Miami-Dade County, municipalities. We received comments from the Village of Pinecrest, for example. So all sorts of commenting agencies, and they all provide input into this process. And they can request information which the applicant may or may not get. I think the important part to understand about the DRI process is that this is not a process where the council opines on whether it's a good project or a bad project, or it's not that process. This is a process of assessment on assessing the impacts of a large scale development proposal. And then again, with all the commenting agencies in partnership, you identify what are the steps that must be taken to mitigate those impacts. And that's, correct me if I've misstated anything, Sam.
100%.
So I just want to make sure, because this process is different from the comprehensive land use process. They go side by side. They can, but this is, again, these are the impacts. This is how you mitigate it. There's no judgment
What you,
on the project.
what you haven't seen in recent years, although it exists and legally applies, is the Strategic Regional Policy Plan, the SRPP. It has been in existence since the Regional Council was created. The SRPP has, that's discussed by, it still exists. It is the guidepost on which you as public officials will consider the DRI. Because that is the plan that gives the regional impacts, mitigation issues and related. It's not a rezoning, it's not a plat, not a land use amendment. They're legally different. This is a specific assignment, as it were, that is distinguished from the LUAs you looked at half an hour ago with regard to local government's decision-making. And you have a significant, although a defined and refined responsibility in considering DRIs that come before you. There will be several public hearings. What's the right of the public? The right of the public prevails in any circumstance, in anything I've just described. In fact, for example, the pre-application conference, it's a public meeting. This SFRPC has made every reasonable, rational, legal effort to make sure that any members of the public have a right to be part of that process. They might have a right to be heard during the pre-app process, but they have a right to be present. They have a right to know. They have a right to be present when, as and if you make an ultimate decision with regard to this particular pending DRI. The end result of which will hopefully be a development order, which is approved by Miami-Dade County. The ultimate decider, the final decider of that development is Miami-Dade County. They have, and Chair Senator Garcia knows this well from his experiences in the past. It's a major assignment, and it's a major issue which will come before that county commission on an assessment report, on a regional report that will be prepared by this agency. Let me repeat myself. One of the obligations in this chart that you see, at least part of it, is the SFRPC's obligation to prepare a regional assessment report that analyzes and discusses those issues that were just described by our executive director in a professional, thoughtful, meaningful way, so that there can be an understanding of what it is that's being asked for and how you get to the answer with regard to the recommendation. So that regional report, when, as and if it's prepared, it's not yet done, you'll see it. There will be a public hearing in this room. It may be the meeting and the item may last for review an hour, it may last for 10 hours. I will tell you that there was a project, and I know that the former chair and mayor may know this, Port Bougainville, ring a bell? Port Bougainville was a project some number of years ago in the Northern Keys. It failed. It was a project never approved by Monroe County, but it was a DRI. And all of the things I'm just describing was in fact reviewed. And I remember being in the city of South Miami City Hall for a 15-hour hearing when Port Bougainville was considered. And the public had certainly its way. They were able to discuss it. They were able to discuss the issues about it and such like that. The end result of which is that the developer pulled the plug. The county commission in Monroe County was not supportive, and the property eventually got sold, that's what I understand. But that was another DRI which I wanted to bring to your attention. That was a sizable project. It was residential, it was retail, it was commercial, all kinds of things. But the end result of that was a public hearing. So you as public officials will have access to and be part of that process. When the assessment report is ultimately prepared, there'll be a draft DO in it, or at least the format of a development order is part of it. And you will take public testimony. You'll hear from the professional staff. You'll hear from the applicant. You'll hear from the public officials that would choose to be heard, that are either not in the room or would choose to be here because they're interested in the project. The likelihood of having a Miami-Dade commissioner here in the room is not unlikely. Because they too are able to speak as free dealers from their perspective, as would the chair, Senator Garcia. But it's an open and notorious public process. That's important. I mean, you all as public and elected officials live this every day. That microscope light is now a floodlight. You're under constantly. And that's unfortunately the obligation you took on when you raised your right hand and took the oath of office. But the end result is that there will be several public hearings, because ultimately there'll be a transmittal hearing where this council, after reviewing the assessment report, will send that to Miami-Dade County. Not in a vacuum. As Isabel mentioned, there will be comments and other insight that are given to staff in preparing that document before it gets transmitted, before you approve it for transmittal. You have a legal obligation to send it. That's your lawyer's opinion. You have a legal obligation to forward that document to Miami-Dade County for their review. With whatever recommendations and assessments you placed in that document. They will, under state law, because that portion of the law has not been eliminated, will have to consider it. As I like to say, This application is the last DRI in Florida, and probably is. It's the last one grandfathered in, as far as I know legally. Mr. Burkow may know differently, but I think that it actually is. It's the last one in America, I think, actually.
The last DRI.
Last DRI. You have the pleasure and the privilege of having to consider it under the terms of the statute that has now, in some part, been repealed. So there'll be another hearing when the county commission sends it back to you, which they're required to do under the statute. That's somewhere on the list. They will send back the development rule, which then you have to consider yet again. There'll be 2 public hearings on the item, and then if there's a decision to take it any further, that will not be your decision, because the rights that you used to have, you don't have anymore, because that portion of the appeal can't be taken. There's no appeal to the governor cabinet by the regional council. There may be some action that could be taken for any reason by both parties, but not this council, that being Miami-Dade County and the applicant.
If I could, Sam.
Please.
I would just want to add that we would make every effort to have these public hearings in Miami-Dade County, because that's the community where the DRI will be unfolding. So we'll make every effort to be there to maximize, involvement by all the stakeholders, public input.
That makes sense.
And that's consistent with the Sunshine Law. There's section 286.0113, which is in the statute for some number of years now. Members of the public have a right of access. They have a right to be heard before a final decision is made by a public entity. That's required. And all of you that sit on the days like I do, you know that before you make final decisions, that the public has a right to be heard, even on consent agenda items, which may not require public hearing. If the public wants to be heard, they have the right to be. And this, because it's a DRI, doesn't make it any less important or less accessible by the public to be commenting on such items as if and when the item comes back through. Happy to. That's the 10,000-foot scene, but I wanted to give you some history that might otherwise intrigue you. I was looking at a couple of items. This council was actually party to several litigation matters back in the 70s and 80s, including me as your lawyer, back then, as a matter of fact. But to the extent that that's not the issue of the day, we're not looking for litigation. Often we're looking for doing the right thing under state law and following the laws. I know you all will, and hopefully with our guidance together and collectively from your well capable executive director and your professional staff, including Bob Cameron. But I saw his stock photo on the list earlier. Bob has been facilitating this DRI since the beginning, since the document, the 032 agreement was signed back in 2021. And Christine has been with the council for a long time and has great experience and background. And to the extent that I would pay a compliment to the lawyer, Mr. Burkow, who represents the applicant, there are a small group of professionals who know what a DRI is. And those lawyers who do this kind of work are a special group. And I say that not to give them overly support for his professional career. The answer is self-evident, because he would not be here, and there are not people in the room who specialize in this area that wouldn't be otherwise having this discussion. And I've had the privilege and the honor of having seen a number of DRIs over time. And I hope that this brief but meaningful discussion has given you some guidance as to proceed going forward. So that would be open to questions at this point. Happy to respond. You have some very competent people sitting in the room that can answer questions.
Ralda, we can go back to that one. Thank you. You beat me to it. Thank you.
Mr. Gordon, I got a quick question. How long will this entire process take? What's your estimate on time as to how long that process will take?
I'm going to defer to Isabel because we're in the process now.
Okay.
We are in the sufficiency stage of that process, which is whether or not the responses to staff with regard to the application for development approval have been sufficiently provided that staff can then begin to prepare the assessment that's required, the regional assessment report. I'm not aware of anything that's going to derail the process. And I think everyone is moving in a very good faith, straightforward manner to get to the answer.
So thank you, council member. I would just say that we are certainly trying to keep the process moving as expeditiously as possible and move it forward. We just finished the first round of statement of information needed, and the applicant then gave us a big binder of answers and additional information, which is being reviewed by the commenting agencies. Christina, I would defer to Christina, because she's the day-to-day manager. I believe the way the law is written, we can ask for additional information. I don't think the applicant is obligated to provide it. I think the point is, if we get to the end, and I hope I'm not speaking incorrectly, but if we get to the end of the assessment rounds where you're getting information and there's still issues open, they might just be part of the regional report, you know? But again, we've been working, I think, in good faith with the applicant and with all our commenting agencies, and I'm hoping everything will move expeditiously. So, Christina, would you like to add? So I would think later this year, you will be receiving this, because I don't think I'll be fortunate to retire before it's over. So I think it's gonna be later this year. And I don't know, there's different things. If you look at the letter that is part of Agenda 5C, I know that the applicant is keen to see this move along. But you may see in the letter that was included in here back in 2021, it sort of explains why this application was put on hold. Probably something to note is that this used to be in this DRI was originally in this council in 2006. Went forward and then it was paused and then it was recommenced. So there are, I think, any number of factors that will fall into the decision-making process the applicant has regarding moving things forward. But we're gonna do our best to move it forward professionally and as expeditiously as possible. Christina, would you like to add anything?
Sure, just that we're in the sufficiency process now, so we did indicate to the applicant we needed additional information. They're considering that request. They have indicated they will respond imminently, so and then we'll have 45 days to review that response if they do submit, and we'll go forward from there. So I think if it was the quickest time period would be several months if it moves forward as expected. Is that fair then?
Fair. Thank you. Thank you, Christina. Council members, any other questions?
The experience that I'm barely remembering with what I call the mega mall that's the indicative of the process that we'll be going through, right?
Somewhat similar, although that was not a DRI.
Right, American Dream Miami. If the law had not been repealed, it would have been a DRI, but it wasn't, because the law had been repealed. So yes, but it is that big convening stakeholders input. It's a little bit different, but it's that sort of scale of project.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I think you would have had like a Tropica or something. That's Sunrise, wasn't Sunrise a DRI?
Well,
Well, I don't know.
that was a DRI.
I don't think it was.
Maybe not. That sounded big. Yeah.
All right. Sam, great job. Thank you for that historical perspective and that information on our role and responsibilities as it relates to the Regional Planning Council. So thank you. I appreciate that. That was part of what I wanted to get together with you today after lunch and go through all that. So I appreciate that you did that today.
Thank you very much, Senator. If I can close really quickly, I want to tell you that as I close this discussion, the cooperation and the collaboration between the professionals at Miami-Dade County has been extreme. The same, I would suggest, has been the same for the applicant and their experts. The people that are doing this work are extremely competent, qualified in what they do. And that this is not, like I mentioned earlier, something for the light of heart. This is a major project. The process is a significant part of Florida law. The agreement that we the council have, along with all the parties involved, compel us to comply with the law and to be cooperative and collaborative. And to the extent that I can say that today, that has been the case yesterday. It'll be the case today. It will be the case tomorrow. And to the extent that we can bring to this council a document that you can consider publicly in the near future, in the not too distant future, we support that opportunity and look forward to it. Thank you all very much for the time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sam. Is there any other questions before Sam or any? No questions? All right, Isabel. Can we move?
The last item would be 5D. It's the ex officio member report. I see that.
Right.
Ian from DOT is online. Serena from FBP or stand-in is online. And Armando Villaboy from the Water Management District. And I think that, sir, will conclude our agenda for today.
All right, thank you. So then we can to the ex-official members. Who do we go to first?
I have something. Or
That win, DOT.
Okay.
yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Just want to quickly mention the last year the legislature passed I guess the Florida Statute 334.63, which required a PD&E or Project Development Environment Study to be completed within 18 months. The FDOT has issued a new policy, the Project Development Policy, that reflects that for the PD&E to be completed within 18 months from the exception, from the commencement, right? And then in addition to that, they have an additional requirement where a PD&E has to be, I guess, programmed. It has to have construction funded within 8 years. So that's going to be a new thing. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Next, we will have
By May Serena Davila.
Serena. Yes, Serena Davila. Yeah.
Hi, guys. Nothing from this time. Thank you.
Okay. Armando Villaboy.
Nothing to report at this time. Thank you.
Good deal. It's good seeing you. Isabel, where do we go from here?
Maybe move to adjourn.
I think you need a hot tea.
Actually, you know, Madam Chair, I didn't think about this. Is what it is when you're single. I went to get myself some tea because I didn't think about it. So I appreciate you saying that. So thank you.
Feel better, please. You can ask my commissioners. They'll say I'm pretty bossy sometimes, but I think it's always good advice.
It is. I appreciate you. And I want to thank you all for your attendance. And I want to thank the committee members and council members for being here. And Madam Chair, again, I want to reiterate what Lourdes said earlier, that you are the one that drives the farthest, and you have been here at almost every single one of our meetings. So that, thank you very much for your commitment to this organization and to us. So I appreciate you very much for doing that. With that, is any other comments to come before the good of the body? Seeing none, I can move to adjourn. Lourdes? Isabel? Lourdes. Who's Lourdes? Isabel? All right, guys, move to adjourn. Thank you.
I take it as a compliment. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
It's a wrap.